Hello, dear viewers. My name is Dr. John Mohmad Pandit, Assistant Professor at English Department, Institute of Aeronautical Engineering, Hyderabad. Today in this video lecture, I will deliberate on the topic formats for letter writings. Here in this video lecture, we will talk about different formats which we adopt while writing a letter. That is, how to write an informal or for that matter formal letters. How to write a business letters and what is the format for business letters, or like for example how to write an application. Here we will take these things one by one. Now the letter writing has been deemed as one of the most useful forms learned and used for various reasons. And here we have different kinds of letters, and each of which has its own form and style. However, there are certain parts of the letters which remain the same. They are here. Yes, as we know that we have different formats of different types of letters. But there are certain things that remain same for all types of letters. And these are, the first one, it's the sender's address. At the left top, we write the sender's address. Then it's followed by date. And the date is followed by the greetings or the salutation. And then it's followed by body of letter or the main body. And then we have the subscription, and then we have signature. These are the things which you will find in every kind of letter or every type of letter. The first one, the sender's address, then the date, greetings or salutation, body of the letter, subscription, and the signature. Now, let us see how we write these different parts of a letter. And the first one is the sender's address. We write the sender's address at the left side of your paper. Or you can say that we write the sender's address left hand side of the paper. And while writing, for example, the sender's address, we should start with a small portion. For example, first of all, we need to write, for example, the lane number. Then it should be followed by the city. And then it should be followed by the state. And at the end, we have to put the country. Therefore, the sender's address, it should start with a small portion or a definite point. For example, your lane number, or it can be your house number, followed by the lane number, and then the lane number, it can be followed by the district, and then district might be followed by the for example, city, province, or then it must be followed by the country. That's the definite point. The matter of fact is that letters should start with a definite point. Or you can say, to make it more explicit, to make it more simple, it means that we should start the sender's address with a small portion of the definite point. And surely that definite point can be your house number, your lane number, followed by the city, and then followed by the state and country. And we write it on the left hand side of the paper. And the next thing which that follows this sender's address is the date. And we write this date below the sender's address. And here we write, for example, we write this date in different types. For example, sometimes we write 4, like this, 6, 2005 of 2024. Or sometimes we write 6, we write like this, 4, 6, 2024. It's not the good way of writing the date, because here the recipient will be confused if you write the date like 4 6 2024. It's not explicit whether the 4 is the day or the month. Likewise, here we are not sure, it's not explicit whether the 6, here the 6, is it day or is it for that matter month. To avoid this confusion, uh, we need to mention the name of month, like here 4th of July 2005 or 2024, or July 4, 2025, or 2024 or 2005. And one more thing, for example, if you're in England, they used to write like this, they follow this format. They used to write the day, followed by the month, and then followed by the year. We write this in England. And if you are in America, there we write the month, followed by date, and then followed by year. Now, to avoid this confusion, whether it's a day or it's a month, it's better to write the name of the month, like here, 4th of July 2024. It's all about date. Then the next part is the greetings or the salutation. And the salutation, it depends on the relationship between the sender and the receiver. That means this salutation, it varies according to the sender and the recipient, according to the nature of relationship between the sender and the receiver. For example, if it is a member of your family, or if it is someone who is very close to you, there we can write, for example, dear father, my dearest friend, dear uncle, dear Dinah, etc. It means the informal letters. Informal letters, we just mention the name of the person, or we start like dear father, etc. And to business people or any officer of higher rank, it could be like dear sir, dear sirs, dear ma'am, or dear sir. But if you are writing to a company, there again you need to write dear sir or dear ma'am. Now the next one, that's the body of the letter. It's the main part of the letter. When I say the main part of the letter, it doesn't mean that we should neglect the first two parts, that means the sender's address and salutation, at the expense of this one. No, everything is important. The next point is the body of the letter. Uh, Here, these things apply to both, as I told you, formal or informal letters. The first point is the language. This body of a letter, it should be written in active voice, not in passive voice. In other words, try to make use of active voice only. And the second part is start with a short pleasantry such as, I hope this letter finds you well, because it gives a good impression. And the next one is divide your letter or your body into different paras. And each para should contain a separate idea. That's why divide your letter into short paragraphs according to change in subject matter. It means that while writing a body, you need to put information in a logical order. That's why we divide this body into different paras. And each para contains a single idea. You can express multiple ideas in a letter, but for that, you have to divide this body into different paras, and each para should contain one idea. The next one is use simple and direct language that is easy to comprehend. Don't use verbose in letter writing, because the main purpose of the letter is to convey information. Therefore, while writing a letter, we have to use simple language, lucid language, clear language. And don't use ambiguous words or ambiguous terms, which will give different meanings in different contexts. Be straightforward, to the point, and straightforward. And the next one is put down all your points in a logical order, as I tell you. Everything should be revealed in a logical order. Uh, it should follow a coherence. It should not be like a mixture or the amalgam of different ideas. It should be in a logical order. We should reveal information step by step. Next one is the punctuation. It's very important for a letter writing, because a wrong punctuation mark can give different meaning or different sense. In fact, a wrong punctuation mark can change the meaning of a sentence. And the next one is end the letter with a pleasantry such as thank you for your time and consideration. These are the important things. The first point is when you start a letter, use nice words that give that put the recipient at ease with the letter. And at the same time, when you end a letter, you can use different pleasantries such as thank you for time and consideration. It's a very humble way of concluding a letter. Now, the next point is the subscription. The subscription plays helps you end a letter in a polite and courteous manner. The subscription change according type of letter you are writing. When we talk about the subscription, actually the subscription, it's the way by which we end a letter in a very polite and courteous manner. That's why subscription it helps you end the letter in a polite and courteous manner. And the subscription, it varies from letter to letter. It depends upon what type of letter you are writing. For example, it can be like yours faithfully, yours lovingly, yours sincerely, with love. If you are writing a formal letter, you can use these terms like yours faithfully, yours sincerely. If you are writing, for that matter, an informal letter, then you can use with love, etc. And the next part is the signature. The signature or the name of the writer should be written just before the subscription. That means we should write this, we should put our signature or the name just before the subscription. These are some common elements which you will find in every kind of letter. Now, the first is the sender's address, then it's followed by the date, and the date is followed by the salutation, and the salutation is followed by the main body, and the main body is followed by subscription and then signature. These are the different parts which you will find in every kind of letter. Now, the next one, different types of letters. These letters can be classified into two main types according to the purpose of the letter. The first one is the informal letters, also known as social letters, include friendly letters, notes of invitation, etc. And then we have the another kind of letters which we call the formal letters, which include business letters, letters of application, letters to higher authorities, letters to newspapers. Now, the first one is the informal letter. Now, what are the different points which we take care of while writing an informal letter? The first one is that in informal letter, we maintain a conversational style because it's informal. We are writing this letter to someone who is very close to us, or someone to whom we are very much intimate. Someone close, like my friend, like my brother, sister, father. Therefore, here the style, it should be conversational. And the second point is spontaneous thoughts, easy and personal. Here we put our thoughts in a very spontaneous manner. Whatever comes in our mind, whatever we put it in the letter. And the next point is that easy and personal. Here, this letter, the informal letter, they are all subjective letters. Here, we can stretch our thoughts to a greater extent. Here, we put our thoughts in a very spontaneous manner. And the colloquial language, as I told you, the language is the conversational language. And an informal letter can be written by the following as a basic format that includes, again, informal letters who use the sender's address. Or in other words, we can say that informal letter, it starts with the sender's address, followed by date, and then salutation, body of the letter, subscription, and the signature. Now look at the self-address. How to write the self-address? Self-address, it starts, as I told you, that it should start with a small area or with a point. And that point can be your house number, your lane number. Like here, we put the 72. It's a point, it's your house number. Then followed by the Park Avenue, it's a lane number. It's a name of lane, sorry. And then the place, Delhi. And then followed by the pin code 110001. And then we put the date 24th of April 2024. Now the date we're writing a date, sorry, we're writing this self address. You should start your self address with a small portion or small area with a point. Like here, 72 Park Avenue, Delhi, 24th of April 2020. Uh, Now the next one is, this is the sender status. And the next one is the date. Date, as I told you, we should mention the month, name of the month as here, 24th of April 2024. Then with the salutation, we would write the salutation, and its salutation, it varies from letter to letter. It depends upon what kind of letter you are writing. If you are writing to an authority, then you have to put dear sir, respected sir, like that. But if you're writing an informal letter, or you're writing to someone who is very close to you, there you can write, for example, dear friend, or you can say the dear John, anything. And if you're writing someone who is older than you, of course it's an informal letter, but the person to whom you are writing is older than you. There you have to use prefixes like Mr., Mrs. For example, dear Mr. Reddy. The next one, and the formal letters. Now the formal letters, they're different from the informal letters. Informal letters, as I told you, there we put our thoughts in a very spontaneous manner. We don't take so much care of chronology. There we put everything whatsoever comes in mind, we put it on the paper. Now the formal letter is completely different. Formal letter, the first point is it should be clear and concise. It should be brief to the point. The formal letters must be to the point, brief, relevant. Only relevant information should be given. We don't take digressions in formal letters. We remain stick to our point. Whatever we want to say, we remain stick to that point. And the next one is important information or necessary information. In formal letters, we put only necessary information or the important information. Formal letters can be written for a number of reasons, such as to express your concern while working in a professional setup or setting, to provide official information across your workshop place, or to order goods, to apply for employment, that's as we write business letters, or to the editor of newspaper, addressing the problem faced by various groups of people in different areas. That means the letters which we write for newspapers. Now the structure of the formal letter. This formal letter, again, it starts with the sender's address. As I told you that this sender's address, it should be written on the left side of, at the top, left side of your paper. And the sender's address, again, here, we start the sender's address with the smaller area or portion or with a point. And this point can be your house number, your lane number, for that matter, district, state, and then country. And the next point is the date. It's the same date. Again, here we need to put name of the month. And then we put the receiver's name or receiver's heirs, or for that matter, it's recipient status, or name of the firm, or the one who represents the firm. If you are writing to a firm, there you have to put name of the firm, or the one who represents the name of the person who represents the firm. And again, while writing this recipient status, it should follow the same procedure as of sender status or self address. Again, the next one is the subject or subject line. In formal letters, after writing the recipient status, we put subject or subject line. And the subjected line, it gives us the idea of the whole letter. It gives us the context. It provides us the necessary information about the letter. The next one is the salutation. In formal letters, we put the salutation like dear, respected sir, etc. And then it's followed by the main body of the letter. And the main body of the letter, we should start it like this in formal letters. The first point is, when you are writing the main body of a formal letter, your first point should be introducing yourself and stating the purpose. If you're writing a letter, first of all, formal letter, first of all, introduce yourself and then state the purpose. Here, we can't afford digressions. Just give a brief introduction of yourself and then state the purpose. Why you are writing this letter? What is the purpose of writing this letter? Don't take digressions. Don't deviate from the main topic. Everything should be to the point or related to the topic. That's why, or related to the subject line. What is the first point? Introducing yourself and stating the purpose. And the second point is detailed information about the matter. The second point, actually, it's just the explanation of the first point. That means the stating the purpose. After stating the purpose, we give the detailed information about the matter. For example, if you are writing the second para, in the first para, you are just, for example, introducing yourself and stating the purpose. And then the second para, it is the extension of the first para. The second para, you put everything in detail. That's why we say detailed information about the matter. And the third one is the concluding statement. Conclude in the third, the point is the concluding statement. And this conclusion, it must be natural. It must be spontaneous. It must be natural. That, which means that your letter, it should appear as a whole, not as a part. Therefore, the closing must be natural. It should not appear that you have closed it all of a sudden or abruptly or by force. No, the closing must be natural. It should appear as a whole, not as a part. And the next what we do, we put the signature, and the signature, it must be followed by the name and designation. First, we put the signature, Then we put the name of the person, and then we put the designation. Now, the important point. While writing the main body of a formal letter, you need to put these things into mind. First is introduce yourself, and then immediately come to the point, that is, state the purpose of your letter writing. Why you are writing this letter? What is the purpose of this letter? And then, after stating the purpose, you should put the information in detail. Detailed information about the matter. Or you can say that if you're writing this in the second para, you can say that the second para, it's the extension of the first para. The first para in which you have put, for example, your introduction and the state and the purpose of writing. And then we conclude it. Uh, and after conclusion, we put the signature, name, and the designation. And then now the types of formal letters. You have different types of formal letters. For example, we have business letters, letters of application, or letters to newspaper. These are some types of the formal letters. Now the first one is the business letter. The business letters, it's just clear and to the point. Business letters should be to the point, clear. Here we can't afford, for example, digressions or extended greetings. We remain to the point. Whatever we have to say, we say it in the very first sentence. That's why here it's a brief. It should be clear and to the point. The next important point is in business letters, language we use a simple language, or you can say the everyday language, lucid, clear language, and we don't use jargons or the abbreviations. Here it's important to know that while writing a business letter, we should avoid the words that are ambiguous or that have multiple meanings in a context. Our language needs to be very simple, clear, lucid, to the point, uh, avoid verbose. And the next one is modes of address vary according to types of letter and the receiver. And here, the modes of address vary. And it vary according to a type of letter and the receiver. For example, we have different types of letters in business letters. We have the letters of inquiry, we have the order letter, we have the cancellation letter, um, we have the initial inquiry. We have different types of business letters. Therefore, the mode of address vary according to type of letter and the receiver. The next one is clear and exact description of article in quality and quantity. This is the very important. When you are writing a business letter, for example, you are placing an order, you are writing a letter in which you place an order for things. You need to mention both quality and the quantity of the articles or the products. That's why we say the clear and exact description of the article in quality and quantity. And one more thing, here you can quote a code number of an article. You can quote a reference number of an article. In fact, it is better to put a reference number of article, code number of article, so that you can get your order properly. That's why we say the clear and exact description of the articles in quality and quantity. The next one is always quote date of the letter you are responding to and its reference number. As I told you that always quote the date of the letter. In business letters, when we start a business correspondence, there we need to mention the date of the letter you are responding to and its reference number. Um, Reference number is important and the date is important. And while writing a letter, while doing a correspondence between for example, when there's a correspondence between the seller and the buyer, surely they might have exchanged different letters. To avoid the confusion of which letter I'm talking about, we need to mention the date of the letter you are responding and its reference number because it will help him to locate it quickly. The next one is business letters include letters of order and replace goods, inquiry letters, letters of complaint and adjustment. And in all these letters, the important point is that we mention the reference number so as to locate the letter easily. Now, the next one is the letters of applications. Letters of application is usually consist of letters applying for employment. And these are the points that we should take into consideration while writing letters of an application. The first one is always start with a short introduction stating whether the applicant is writing in response to a reference from an advertisement found online or in the newspaper. This is the most important point. While writing letters of application, we should start a letter with the short introduction. And that in that introduction, we need to put whether we have whether the applicant is writing in response to a reference from an advertisement found online or in the newspaper. For example, if I am writing a job letter and my first point should be where from I come to know about the job, online or in newspaper. It's like that. The second point is state the age, education, and experience of the applicant. That's very important. Here, we need to mention the age, education, and experience of the applicant. The next point is provide the employer with a genuine expression of the applicant's earnestness in taking up the job in the respective company. Our letter, it should show our emotions. That means how we are curious about the job, how we are very much passionate about the job. And the next one is also furnish references so that employer can gather an idea of kind of employee you would be. Here we put the reference numbers or the references of different persons. And these letters of application should follow the format of formal or business letters. But here the important point is that at the end after the signature, we put the name of references. Oh, the next one is the letters to newspaper. Always address these letters to the editor and end with your faith. Again, it's a kind of a formal letter. And while writing these letters, we should address to the editor. The second important point is express concern that should be addressed to the higher authorities. And the next point is that these letters should be professional and authentic. That whatever you are writing in the letter, it needs to be factual, based on facts. And the next one is don't write anonymous letters and make sure you are writing the letters for a cause and provide your name address correctly. Here, if you are writing an anonymous letter to a newspaper, they're not going to publish it. That's why it's very important to mention your name, mention your address in a right manner. Now, the important tips for good letter writing. These are the important tips which you need to adopt to write a good letter. The first point is the candidate must be able to identify the type of letters they will write. For example, writing a letter to the principal asking for leave is a formal letter, but writing a letter to the principal to catch up after a long time would be informal letter. Therefore, it's the very important to identify the nature of the letter. Before writing a letter or before you attempt to write a letter, you need to find the nature of the letter, what kind of letter you are writing, so that your words should correspond to that letter. Now, the another point is opening and closing of letter must be correct. As formal letters must open and close in a professional manner, while informal letters can be directly addressed to the person with the greetings. Even closing the letters is significant. Formal letters always end respectfully and impersonally, whereas informal letters may end with a more personal touch. Now that's why I told you that this the opening and closing, it also varies from letter to letter, depends upon what kind of letter you are writing. For example, if you are writing a formal letter, then your opening and closing, it must be more impersonal, it must be more formal, it must be more respectful. And if you are writing an informal letter, there you can end your letter with a more personal touch. And the next step, in informal letters, uh, making clear the purpose of the letter immediately is important. Here, when you are writing a formal letter, don't extend your greetings too long. Make your point as quickly as possible. That's why you should mention the purpose at the very beginning of the letter. In fact, in the very first two or three lines. And the candidates writing formal letters must make sure to get to the point as soon as possible. Here, in the formal letters, we could afford, for example, digressions. Uh, it's to the point, brief, to the point, and here we need to put the purpose as quickly as possible. The next one is letter is always supposed to be considerate and polite. It's essential to use polite words and civil language in all types of letters, be it formal or informal. Even if the letter is about any complaint, the point must be made in a careful and courteous manner. This is very important to understand. What kind of letter you are writing, your language must be respectful, your language must be courteous, use words carefully. If you are writing, even if you are writing a complaint, your language must be modest, it must be respectful. And the length of the letter also holds relevance. In formal letters, the matter should be expressed to the point, precise, short, while the length of the personal or informal letter depends on the message and the relation to the recipient. Yes, when we talk about the length, if you are writing a formal letter, it must be short to the point. And if you are writing an informal letter, it depends upon the relation to the recipient. These are the different references you can adopt for further readings. It was all about the different formats of letter writing. In the next lecture, we will take these letters separately. For example, we will take business letters, how to write business letters, what are the different types of business letters, what are the different formats for these business letters. And in a similar fashion, we will take in the coming lecture, we will take how to write an application in detail, or for that matter, how to write an informal letter, a letter to a friend. We will take it in detail. It was all about the different formats of letter writing. Uh, Hope you have enjoyed it. We will meet in the next video with another topic. Till then, goodbye.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.